They'll be calling you a radical. A lot to talk about. Important stuff. We've got an update on the u.s.s.Regan versus General Electric Toshiba. Remember, this case is not per se against TEPCO. The crux and the hardcore case that they're going to win is against General Electric, Toshiba, the Westinghouse bankruptcy. Talk about the Cuomo tax in New York. Freaking, it's down to the wire right now. I got an update on that. SAN Onofre. Got a big update. Now, you're going to love this one. So, I do all the dirty work of SAN Onofre, all of it. In a bone marrow transplant, a lot of it. I've been fighting them for years and years and years. So now they're all fighting they all want awards for shutting this down and, kickbacks and, all this money that they've sued for, I did all the dirty work. What's my reward? Oh, I got leukemia. I got a bill for $1.8 million at a bone marrow transplant center. That was my reward for doing all the work. So get this. They brought in the N.F.L. mediator. Now you cannot make this up. Now you think about this. They bring in the N.F.L. mediator. Now why this ties in? The u.s.s.Regan and 31 other ships were sent in to Fukushima immediately. They radiated the living fucking Jesus out of those fucking guys. I was in the hospital with one of the young men. He died. And so the lawsuits were filed by, these young sailors, and older sailors for that matter. Danielle Valentine's father called me on the phone, found a post. He didn't know anything about it being radiated. So they bring it back in. I'm down there fresh out of the bone marrow transplant and one of the reasons I went to San Diego was try to rehab. Part of my to live was the sun in San Diego, my place. I've always known that's my place. I mean, that's where I was born and raised in Utah, San Diego, California, San Diego County. It's my home. I've always known it's a gem. Yeah, it's been ruined, the new Disneyland, but I've always known it'll be San Diego County. I always know they're the conscious people. That's where the sun is. That's where it's going to happen. And I've been fighting SAN Onofre my whole life. So I'm there trying to rehab and trying to talk to the Navy. I'm doing videos. No one's paying attention to me. No one gives a fuck about Fukushima at that point. They had a Little League sleepover camp. You heard that right. A Little League sleepover camp on the u.s.s.Regan. I'm protesting there. Don't do it. Don't do it. Ratchet's going crazy about it too. She did fantastic work on that in the early days. But then they had the San Diego Chargers. I'm not kidding. Did a PR freaking dog and pony show, and I'm going psycho. They're the Walmart Chargers now. You do know that. They're the Walmart Chargers. This guy, he's a real estate guru. You always dig into these people's background. It's always some propped up. He's married to one of the Walmart girls. Same old Sam, go Walmart. They're named the Chargers. So they brought in it's so crazy. Now I want to explain this in New York on the status quo, the bank bailout and chemo. The unions say, you'll devastate 3 communities. I did the math on this. 7.6 billion, 20% of that number can buy out every single employee that works at all 4 plants for 200 years. 20% of that will give more money to each. Just give them the money, if that's what your real true story is. This is a shakedown. Now, it's right down to the last minute. Right here's where we're speaking. They're in there going crazy right now. There's a group of legislators trying to fight this. But it's not over here. It's not over because, and this is when you're not paying attention, in committee on March 14th, which I reported, in committee, they had to fund this inside their budget. They did not fund it. So even though they say, we got it through, and Exelon took control today. Now this is important. Exelon, those bankrupt scumbags who propped up Barack, Barry Antoinette, let them eat yellow cake, put him in office. Axelrod comes from that's the nuclear reactors all over Illinois who got a bailout, another state bailout. Now remember, when they announced that 9 Mile Point, not to be confused with 9 Mile Point, Fitzpatrick, we're going to close. There's 4 reactors, 3 up there on the river, of course, Indian Point. When they announced, they didn't own those reactors. So Exelon, those weasel dicks, they know this. This is collusion. This is corruption. They knew. They bought them for peanuts on the dollar. This ties back into Westinghouse, General Electric, the lawsuit on the u.s.s.Regan. Now, this is real important. This is the update. So get this. As I was correct. My insiders are correct. And then I'll get to the salmon numbers I just got off the phone with Noah. And so, and we'll get to that. So this is real important. So just like my sources said, they were fully going to announce the appellate court, the appeal of the appeal of the appeal. which has been going on for how long? When they heard all my arguments on September 1st. Now, John Edwards is involved. Now, I've been talking to all these attorneys, by the way. You know, Paul, all these guys. So, it was going to be announced. I was right. At the last minute, get this. General Electric had filed a brief. I mean, how can they continue to file? This is the game they play. Now, General, where I do all my work, we say that's the Universal General Electric. That's who built the reactors, and I'll get into that. The flaw of General Electric on those reactors at Fukushima, Japan, and why they are liable. So at the last minute, they fire back. Paul and these guys, the attorneys, they fire back. They're pissed. They're like, what the? And they go crazy. You know, they say, this is obscene that you wait till the last minute. It's almost like they know right as they're getting rolling. They just keep filing, kicking the can, delaying, as they're liquidating assets, General Electric. You know, remember, Jeffrey Melty. Now remember, this is real important. He's with Obama. When Obama stands on the White House lawn and says, we want you to know what I know, the plume of Fukushima is not dangerous, he's flown out of the country with the CEO of General Electric, with the CEO of Westinghouse. They're all the same cartel, and they're flown out of the country, and Obama's family's already there. And they orchestrate this dog and pony cover-up, which everything I said is coming to true because the FOIA documents are all out there. Everything that I said is true. Now, let's get back to, okay, we got two more things that are real important. We're going to talk about the salmon, which is really a big deal. Okay, and then the General Electric flaw. So General Electric, two whistleblowers came forward years ago. Again, this is the people that build it, the wad of scumbags. And so, which I know, I mean, right here. They are billionaire scumbags who are General Electric. They got caught cheating on the Mach 1 and the Mach 2. That's SAN Onofre, those reactors also. So under the specifications of the Mach 1, now they'll tell you themselves, this is for you lunatics, oh, a false flag, I think you fuckers need to go. You know, and if you're married to one of these false flags, sit around, fucking does nothing, fucking freaks trying to just raise a little money on a YouTube or fucking whatever, you need to get away from those scumbags. Number one, they're never going to have any money. They're never going to make any real money on AdSense whatsoever. Number two, you can see their psychosis slowly go. When they start making stuff up. Now, the Great Pacific Genocide, that was a hypothesis of mine when Fukushima happened. I really felt strongly about my hypothesis, but I didn't know in factual detail. I don't talk about some fairy tale something. I hypothesized all this. Then I went out, and that's what PhDs do. Then I went out and did it's going to give you leukemia. I got leukemia. And then, then I went out, I documented all the dead tide pools. I mean, hardcore, incredible freaking work documenting this catastrophe that's been all confirmed 100% now. So the reactors at Fukushima, Japan, General Electric themselves and their specifications, and this fight was going on in the 60s and the 70s, all through the 80s. This was part of the deal. The specifications were supposed to hold these reactors up to about an 8-point earthquake. Then they came around and says, okay, we'll agree to 7.8. And everybody's like, including myself, did hundreds of lectures all over. Fukushima, Japan has bigger than, no, that once in 1,000 years. You know, that's what they would tell us. Can't happen, won't happen. You know, I'm like, bullshit. You know, same as SAN Onofre. So then it got exposed, the flaw of these cores. They cheated when they were building it, just like they did at SAN Onofre. SAN Onofre, they were cheating on the exchange. I don't know how you people don't know this, and I like how the N.F.L. made it. I mean, where's my money? I'm the guy that exposed me and the kids that worked inside there via my YouTube site and all my, they all knew me. They were linking it to me. I was linking it to me. I did all this work with this. I mean, I'm in a bone marrow transplant center at the time, freaking going in and out of coma, given no fucking chance to live. I'm alive. The fight is alive. So they get caught cheating. The specifications are supposed to be up around the 8.79, 78, 7.4, 7.5. When I saw this was a 9, I knew. Had nothing to do with the tsunami. Tsunami made it much worse, of course. It was that fucking earthquake was gigantic. It was 9.0. I mean, do you realize what the fucking magnitude of a 9-point earthquake is? Oh my God. And it was devastating to that fucking country. It cracked it. And by the way, there's 7 reactors at Fukushima. Daiichi. There's 4 at Diani. I reported as 11 reactors immediately. Yeah, I knew. All the cores broke. Spent fuel pools all over. Mox fuel, you know, the Savannah River, but Tower, again, falls into Westinghouse General. Been caught red-handed cheating the Savannah River, which is Toshiba, which part of this suit is Toshiba. So let's get to the salmon number. That's why the case is at GE. Let me finish this. The GE, that's why that case is so paramount important. Because GE cheated. That's why the liability. They cheated on all these, you know, and it's just, you know, SAN Onofre had a meltdown, you fuckers. So you need to come out of denial about that. Hold on, let me get that. Sorry about that. I mean, I forgot. I usually turn it off because it runs off the hook. So, anyway, so there's the liability. They lied. They knew that thing was vulnerable for a thing, and they didn't warn the Navy. They didn't warn the personnel. That thing. I mean, it's a concrete case, and it needs to go forward. It's been, I mean, the appeal, and we need to get that in the courtroom. I'll be there. I've been there the whole time. It's nothing new. The human lab rat of my father in the Nevada test say, you know, Pendleton Marine, right there. There's a reason SAN Onofre is Pendleton. Okay, let's get the salmon number. The salmon numbers, I just got off the phone with Noah. I've been, you know, I call him constantly, and people say, oh, White. I used to talk to White all the time, personally. I mean, they used to interact with me. So did Barbara Boxer in the early days of this, before they were all pushed into the FICA court. The Obama administration is the Trump administration. You can see this by this whole corruption. There's no different. It's the same old fucking wannabe royal team the nuclear industry controls. So this is, look, any people that say that the Pacific Ocean's fine are a fucking fool. Every single marine biologist in the world now, everybody's come to the conclusion, they all agree with everything the Great Pacific Channel, as I said, post Fukushima to present, a credible ecological collapse. It's been confirmed, all my work. No one wanted to believe me. I walked the entire, you think those videos, and anybody that's watched my videos, there's been dozens of different people, you know, grassrooters who have helped me do those videos. Patrick McCormick, Carmel Chris, Jules Eastman, I mean, go on and on and on and on. Lori, Peter Stoop, I mean, you see when I do it, they'll tell you. When I walk up, I don't look at those things first. You can ask any of them. I says, okay, let's just stop here. Then I just, as soon as I get out of the car or wherever I'm walking, I says, okay, let's just go. And I'm all grassroots, and I'm all prepared, and I just turn it on. And I go. Those are all 100%, nothing been looked at, nothing cropped, nothing chopped, nothing freaking photoshopped, nothing. As organic as you could put, like me. Authentic, organic. So the salmon numbers, so this is, we're going to start counting, because under the Endangered Species Act, if it drops over 50% year-over-year collapse, by law it has to be closed. Last year, I said 2016. Why? Because salmon go to sea for 5 years. Now, you could get into the stillhead. They go to sea, they make a double cycle less than that, because they go twice. But salmon go to sea for 5 years. Now, the spring chinook is so important, because spring chinook are a different species, real organic, I think. They run up certain only rivers. So I just got off the phone at Prescott Beach, right on Prescott Beach. I'm talking to those fishermen These are guys, lifelong fishermen, eat, sleep. These guys are half salmon. They're older than me. That's been their entire life. Born and raised in Oregon. They're a lot of them. Tim sold this stuff. He's heartbroken. I mean, these people are heartbroken. I just talked to them again just now. They're right there. That's right on the Columbia, the big, beautiful fishery. They've been fishing every day for 30 days now. There's 35 fishermen there. They finally caught their first yesterday, a 12-pounder. There should be hundreds and hundreds in the sonar at the Columbia. Breaking news, they had a big day 2 days ago. They had 2. That means a total of 14. The Wilmanette still is sitting zero. The people are panicking. So all marine biologists and everybody all over are saying, yes, the ocean's completely collapsed. I talked to the Alaskan Fish and Game yesterday on the phone up there. They said, he told me right there, this may be the end of the Pacific. They all know. You know, Obama administration 2 days before he left declared the whole Alaska freaking drainage, 9 of them, federal disasters, emergency. I mean, it's all acute. It's acute. It's horrible. Why has it not? So I say 222 days yesterday, which is really 322 days from when it should have been. But I gave them a 100-day window. I gave them a 100-day because the bureaucratic nightmare it takes to go through this and to verify this. And okay, I'll give you time. And 100 days is more than enough. So this is day, and I'm going to keep track every day. So the Wilmanette count's still at 0. We're at going to March 31st, still at 0. The Columbia's at 14. They should be thousands by now, many thousands by now. You know, it's 12 or 20, almost 23%. Now, it peaks on the 1st. So I talked to the Washington Fish and Game. Same thing. He told me Alaska. Same thing. I demand to have talks with people. They're like, yeah, this could be the end of the Pacific. And then they're in total panic mode. They've never seen nothing like it. Then they'll say it's acidification. Then I come back, of course it's acidification. Because what is acidification? Acidification is the invasive species moving in, which I've been documenting and reporting that for a long time. I'm the one that first started reporting that you could see it. John Kirk and I in Vancouver are the first ones. He's a paddleboard guy up there in Vancouver. He's one that said you could first start seeing it. Lori in San Diego first started saying you could see it. I could start seeing it. You could see it on the horizon. You could physically see it. You know, because it's just like in your sink. You do yours. It's the lower slowest form. It's just like the green moss and swold. When there's any inlet on the ocean. And you know, I have hundreds of videos out there that prove all this. Because all the species, the California purple sturgeon, I'm ready to declare extinct. And nobody, I mean, they the ones that drill down into the rock. I mean, they're beautiful. They're famous. There's a teeny, what's her name, at Calpali's Pier by Diablo. She did find a nice little crimson. You know, she's fantastic. Sue from Slow, San Luis. I met her digging through a typo in her daughter. That's Patrick and I met her. Fantastic woman, amazing woman. But there's so few of those, and we worked our asses off. We timed this for very low tide. Those are historic footage at Monterey Bay with Carmel Cruz, who's a walking, talking encyclopedia, born at Carmel. Knows it like no other. They're dead. They're completely dead all the way. The Salmon of Epic collapse. Now they'll say acidification, then I go to the next step. What caused acidification? So as a PhD myself, I hypothesize this. The Great Pacific Genocide. I'm an artist, you know, that's what I do, you know. I'm an avant-garde, you know. I'm in the street, I do the fucking work. So then you go do the work. With the central line, I'm dying. Another one of these big components I want people to understand was me trying to stay alive. Now I was involved with Anonymous before anybody even knew what Anonymous was because I was living in Brooklyn half the year. You know, back and forth there. I have for years. Going back and forth, San Diego, Ogden, Brooklyn. That's my gig. If you haven't noticed, that's my place. Been doing it my whole life. You know, and so the whole evolution of this all ties together. I know it's all nuclear because I'm a social inequality. Fucking, that's when I taught and I threw my chalk. All right, so I set out to prove this. And I've worked my ass off. I mean, my God, 2,213 days without a day off. Because, number one, I had cancer and I was given a life sentence, death sentence. It was a death sentence. You know, and I took chemo, but it wasn't your father's chemo, and I refused the radiation. I do have 4 tattoos on me, and like Dr. Thompson, the last guy, very lightly, we did this very creative and a very different way of chemo, very different way. Fimbo Peterson and those wonderful doctors at LDS hospitals, amazing team that saved my life. I mean, it's a miracle. It's a miracle. O.S. de novo is a death sentence person. They saved me, and then a lot of this has been me trying to stay alive, obviously. And so it's part of the proving the thesis, intensity. So I've documented and proved it. You can't argue with me about the test. So it's acutely collapsed. Anybody that says the Pacific Ocean's fine is insane. You know, the sardines are 99% collapse, well documented. The sea lions are at 80% fucking collapse, well documented. Fucking full of fucking leukemia. You know, we can go on and on and on. At every speed, more whales washing up, another humpback washed up right away. It's unheard of. The humpbacks, the great recovery, declining. You know, at the Monterey Aquarium, they used to laugh at me. They don't laugh no more. They're like, oh, God, Kevin, you're right. I can't believe you found 1 starfish. And I work at this hard. I mean, I sit there because when the tide rolls out, you got to be right there, Johnny, on the spot, and you got to go. And if anybody that watches and sees how I do it, I go hard. I work so fucking hard at this. I think that's probably the reason I'm alive. So it's collapsed. So you can have the argument with me now. It's unarguable. The Pacific Ocean is an the greatest acute collapse of any ecology in fucking human history. Right here, right now, the Pacific Ocean. So you can't argue that part. So the only other argument, now we have to have the argument, if you want to argue, is, well, okay, it was something else. Now we know it's been under a fucking attack. For instance, the Bonneville Spring Chinook number, before a white man got here, had 40 million. You heard me right, 40 million. You know, these fucking Europeans we come across here, look what we did to Shasta. You know, here, come to dinner. I mean, killing human beings. Think about cutting down the sequoias. You ever been on the sequoia? I'm not talking to redwood. Redwoods are on the sequoia. You ever been to the sequoias? They'll take your fucking breath away. I mean, beyond. Even as a grown man, it's like the first time when you see a starfish. You're like, I remember the first time I saw one. I was a little boy. I was out in the pools, and I'm like, you know, they're spectacular. But these madmen will kill them, slaughter them. I mean, they got to be stopped. I mean, you can't just... So you can have that argument with me. But I'm an old stats professor. You know, I'm an old finance guy. So, you know, we call them outliners. Something obviously, there's an acute situation. It wasn't gradual. So there's obviously something happened. Well, it's obvious the scar, I mean. So, and then you say you're testing. You can't test. This is untestable. That's one thing Ken Buckafuck Buessler says. Number one, no one's testing. Number two, you can't test for this. It's an impossible test because you don't know what it is. And that's Livermore's proved my F.U. fructonium. Remember I came out of that law in the early days. Because it's a synergistic effect. It's a gamma rays from the fucking Fukushima. Now think about this. The core's fucking cracked and fractured, and G will tell you straight up, anything over about a 7.8, they're done. not the tsunami. They crack and burst. And once they fucking crack and shake and go over, the nuclear fission process starts. They melt together. They cause a fucking and they blow the fuck up. You can't get near them. All of them blew the fuck up. That Mox fueled in 3. Remember Savannah River? We sent it. Remember the United States and Russia from Paducah, from fucking Australia all over? We sent it over there. Remember? Fucking 92, we got the Mox fuel fairy tale, Arriva. They built the fucking Tower of Babylon at Savannah River. Fucking Westinghouse gets caught. GE, fucking, Toshiba, which is Chicago Bridge and Iron, gets caught. Saying it's 70% done when it's 28% done. Looting the American tax. You're paying for it. Huh. Yet, here's in Atlanta, Georgia, the roads collapse right there. Yet they're building 2 reactors right there by that freeway. They can't fucking improve that freeway. Yet you're spending $22 billion on one of the reactors at Volker. They're spending $19 billion on the other one. Right across the fucking border, South Carolina, you're spending $30 billion on the Tower of Babylon, which everybody's already come out, including, I have it on video, including Alison McFarland, who I know, says no, it's never going to happen. Einstein told you that in 53. So yet you'll let all your infrastructure collapse. You'll let everything go to fucking hell. For what? These nuclear looting pigs? Which is fucking the Trump administration, which is the bomb administration. Apollo's gave them the $800 million. The fucking private equity fund. They're fucking they're corrupt as fuck. Trump administration has ties all over, including, the Amway queen, your Secretary of Education, disgusting, including the head of the SEC, used to work for him. These are the people on the ballot. This is a backdoor bailout. Hello, the Salmon have collapsed. So we're going to count it down every day from now on. We're going to call it the Wilmington, Columbia, which I have been anyway. This is epic. This is epic. And the derelicts that were supposed to do the emergency closure by law have not, which is NOAA. You should hear the Oregon Fish and Game, the head, Washington, Alaska. I talked to them. You got to ask somebody if you can record them. They're not about to be recorded because I asked them. They will not, and that's illegal to do it without. And I know that. I don't play that way anyway. Let them hang themselves. Let these idiots say it's a false flag. Let these idiots in their fucking basement. Let these fucking morons fucking go ahead. Brand yourself in fucking history because you're fucking... The Pacific Ocean class, my fucking videos document it perfectly and show it. Dunford's work on the fucking boat. The whole coast has been documented from fucking clear nearly to Alaska all the way to fucking San Diego by me and Dunford. It's that simple. It's done. It's very real. People say, oh, I thought you were crazy, but we're not like, you're right. It's an ecological catastrophe. So now it's a salmon. Now, Tim and these guys saw at Prescott Beach. You're talking the hardcore of the hardcore fishermen. The hardcore. These guys are half fucking walking, talking, brilliant geniuses on the salmon cycle. Salmon go to sea for 5 years. They don't live there. And you say, oh, we can eat salmon. They're farm raised. No, you can't. They have to lay the egg. They have to gather the egg. The smolt, the cycle is an incredible story. Why do you think the natives worship the salmon? First came the god of salmon. Then came, rightfully so. It's an incredible cycle. They used to make it all the way here to Duck Valley in Utah. Redfish fucking Lake. All this. Amazing. So, SAN Onofre, it's a big deal. Where the fuck's my check, fucker? You gonna fucking sit and argue? The N.F.L. fucking mediator. You gonna mediate when the new San Diego Chargers that went on there get fucking leukemia? You gonna mediate when those kids you let go on there? That's malice. This lawsuit's gonna, it'll be ruled any day, but, I read the response. Paul and these attorneys went psycho on GE. GE has been liquidating illegal. And GE will tell you this. Oh, we can legally liquidate because it's never been ruled to forward. Yes, it has been ruled to go forward. I was standing there. I'm the only person there. On August 25th, 2014, Lori and I and fucking, what's his name from Temecula? Libby was there, but before that, it was just me. She ruled it goes forward against General Electric, Toshiba, Hitachi that day. This is nothing but a pill of that. And then she ruled before that. That was the appeal. She ruled that they lose the appeal. Then they appealed the appeal. Then they appealed the appeal to California. And now at the late date, they have 90 days to rule. We're going on, 180? And they throw that out. It's corruption. It just shows you how corrupt and what power these fucking scumbags, General Electric, wield. They're scumbags. And I'm melting. There's incredible conflict of interest inside the Obama administration and the fucking Obama. The reason this is such a big deal, this is going to blow the lid off the biggest corruption, the fucking tentacle, fucking most evil crime in human history. And the u.s.s.regan trial is going to be it. It's going to expose my father, human lab rat. He was at Pendleton. Two. Blasted him one time. Took him back. They staged him in Santa Barbara, and then they took him back second. I woke up in a hospital, blowing out with his tonsils cut out. Now they're children, that's my work. The children of the atomic veterans, I can write PhD after book, but I want my PhDs and my work to be transparent. It's right here. There it is. Everybody says, where's your PhD? Right here. You've watched it, because that's what Aaron Swartz broke into MIT. You know, they captured the information. They took up this peer review bullshit. Oh, fuck that. You know, Dunford's, that's a PhD. His classroom's incredible. He's old school fucking professor. Throws around, does incredible work. That's old school fucking professors. That's fucking what they were. That's the brilliant ones that taught me, that raised me. You know, I knew John Goffman, fucking the great professor. I mean, Stegner. I mean, my grandparents, you know, Abe the Fourth. You know, the statue at Old Town, that's Abe the First. Abe Hunsaker the Fourth, my grandfather. They did not believe in inherited wealth, by the way. They give it all away. All of it. And you're talking some of the richest people in this country. That's my grandfather. You know, I think he'd be very proud of my work. I think my dad, it'll make me cry, would be very proud of my fucking work. You know, I watched him die in the prime of his life. You know, I watched Annika go. You know, what a great actress she was, the Femin. She was from the Ukraine, in Vegas. You know, that's how I got introduced to Madeline and Megan Rice, was from her. You know, well, Megan, I already knew Madeline from, you know, just reading, seeing. I'd never met her, but that's how I met her. And then about a test site. So, just hang in there. You know, let these fuckers brand themselves in history. You know, how can you go drive around the country collecting fucking money for Fukushima and fucking then turn around and say it's a false flag? I mean, what the fuck is that? That's a mental illness, you know. Seek help, brother. You know, come on. You know, don't make shit up and fairy tale in your mind. I mean, painting these paintings. These are paintings. These are paintings. You know, stand tuning. It's not the, I mean, you got to do the work, and I've done the work. And so you can't argue with me anymore. You can't argue with me anymore about the collapse. I mean, it took me a year and a half to convince anybody it was even one fucking meltdown. Nobody fucking want to hear. I mean, that's what I've been up against. You know, these are PR firms that pay these fuckers. These fuckers, they find these YouTubers that are already out there. Then the PR, it's real simple. The PR firms go to them. They know they're not making any money. AdSense is cutting, and then they once they're established for it, then they pay them. They'll say, hey, well, you know, we can give you X amount a month. And that's what they do. It's very common. It's been exposed. They do it. You know, they do it. And then these guys, they need the money. They're desperate for the money. You know, then they go for it. What a fool. Anybody who goes, and they have. Then they brand themselves in history. Fucking what? I mean, my God. So you can argue with, was it something else that caused it? Because this is the greatest collapse ever. Because Sam go to sea for 5 years. And last year was across the board, all the way from the Copper to the Kenai to the fucking Fraser, to the fucking Columbia, to the fucking Puget Sound, fucking, to the fucking, you know, Wilmanette, to the Rogue, fucking all the way down, fucking, to the fucking Northern Cal. You average them all out, it's 80% collapse last year. That's by number. That's by volume, not by weight. And I talked to many, they're coming in white, they're coming because big fish eat little fish. Fukushima and energy, which I call Fuku. To think, they just done been water. They've been trying to fix this. Do not kid yourself. Berkeley's been in there, MIT, these are the rats. John Holdren's the guy who gets a fucking pass, they've been in there the whole time. They've been trying. It isn't like they're trying. They're trying to use their nanotechnology. They're underneath there. They call it J-Village. They're under there. It hasn't worked. That's why they switched the whole team with Ernest Moxie Full from Chow. Fucking, I was in front of the White House when they sanctioned TEPCode on November the fucking 6th, 2013. I'm standing right there. We have videos of them going in because of the Million Mass March. You know, I do this work. You know, I'm in the field. I know everyone. I know Allison McFarland personally. I know all the NRC personally. I know all the fucking, I know Tom fucking very personally for PG&E. Fucking all these people. I know the fucking crooked fucking PV chair. I know all those guys very personally. All of them, because I've been at this for years. I talk to them. I show up. I have communication with them, whatever. And they're not afraid of me. I'm not afraid of them. But boy, they respect me. They'll actually have come because they know what the fuck I'm talking about. This isn't just some hyperbole I jumped into. I know what the fuck, just like Dunford up there. His fucking wealth of knowledge, his background is incredible. When he talks about fucking these aren't bananas potato chips and he gets into detail, it's amazing. Fantastic fucking work because he knows his shit. Lifetime of fucking knowledge pours out. You know, so it's not working. So they're, you know, obviously they have to dump water on it all the time. And they're not catching the fucking water. And the water dumps into the Pacific Ocean. It's good to think. I want you to think about it. These are gamma rays, the worst fucking thing that could ever released into the atmosphere. And it's never happened in history before. It didn't happen at 3 Mile Island. It didn't happen at Chernobyl. I mean, Chernobyl, they sent 580,000 men into Entomb. It happened, but nothing like this. This is Moxville. This is the biggest fucking catastrophe in human history. To think you can dump that in for 2,214 fucking days and there's no consequence? Again, human beings could do anything they want to their fucking nest. Anything, and it's okay. No consequences. Generational arrogance is... that is the definition of fucking arrogance and sickening insanity. Don't give a fuck about your children. Don't give a fuck about anybody else's children. Don't give a fuck about unborn children. Don't give a fuck about any animals, these living creatures. You arrogant fucking sickening fuckers. You might as well be a Rothschild. You might as well be a Rockefeller, every one of you, because you act just like these arrogant fuckers. You know, not me, not me. So stay in tune. We'll stay on this. We're going to count it down every day. You know, this is day, actually, 323, but it's really, we'll give them three. I'm going to give them 100 days, so it's day 223 of the Emergency Act should have been, the Endangered Species Act should have been kicked in. Derelicts need to go to prison. Stay in tune.